Hello, hello. I'm Joy, and this is Taurus Tarot. And we're just kind of checking in, getting a feel for what the energy is out there that's coming in. Lots of different stuff for me been coming in. But I want to see what the message is for the collective. So that's what we're taking a look at right now. Like, what is the message for the collective right now? What is important for, whoever comes across this video? What is important for them to hear and to know right now in these really, really difficult, challenging times? Is as enlightened as you may be, or as secure as you may be, as no matter where you are on your journey, the situation in America, it has to touch you somehow, regardless of where you are, or your circumstance in life. And the suffering that is happening out there, it has to affect you in some way. If you're even here watching these types of videos, you're probably someone who is concerned and in tune, and wants to know, wow, now they're all flying out, what can be done, or how we can move through this in a really way that is very much in alignment with unconditional love and and source energy. So to kind of make a point of that, so I had a phone call this morning, and it happened to be have timeshare with Hilton Grand Vacations, and you have points, and your points expire at a certain time. And so somebody called me, and I thought that he was talking about a way to extend my points so that I didn't lose them, since we can't exactly go anywhere during this pandemic. We can, but it'd be crazy to really. But he really misled me, and I said I was at work and I needed to know more, and he said he'd call me back, which he did, and then he immediately transferred me to this other agency, and I didn't understand what was going on. But long story short, they were really actually trying to sell me a different kind of vacation package, and I kept asking him, is this about selling me something? Because I really don't have the money for it right now, and I really don't care to be traveling right now. And he's like, oh no, this is about blah, 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 blah. But in the end, that's exactly what it was about. It was about trying to sell me something that I just, was very clear that I didn't have the money for, nor did I have the desire for. But yet that drive for him to make a sale was so consuming that he couldn't even be honest with me. So I found that very disturbing, and it really made me think, like, how do we really want to move forward in this world? How do we want to engage with each other and engage in our own life in a way that is pono, and that means like righteous and in alignment, and unfortunately that's really lacking in a lot of big business. Profit is priority over people, and it's a very sad and ultimately detrimental way to engage. So sorry for that little tangent, but I felt like it's kind of important to say, because we do really need to move forward differently in this world. And I did get a little bit triggered by the lady on the phone, because she was pretty insistent about selling me something as well. And when I talked, she just talked over me, so I just ended up hanging up. But for me myself too, like as triggered as I am, I have to remember also that they're also people that are just playing into this like corporate system of putting profit over people, and they may not realize it yet. And then how am I engaging in the world so that I can make other people, or make people aware of that, and aware of how that doesn't work that's not going to work for us moving forward into the future. Because it's very, it's not what we want. We want a system that puts people first, right? Okay, so here we go. We got the Two of Pentacles, and this immediately came as like balancing where you are now and where you want to be in this world. So like taking kind of like an inventory of like, okay, how am I engaging now in this world? How am I playing into this corporate political system that I've been kind of indoctrinated into, right? Like you grow up with it, you become conditioned by it. Consumerism, all of that, right? So how am I engaging in that right now, and what do I want my life to look like, post pandemic? Yeah, and that's what this card is kind of really saying. Oops. And so that's a really important issue though to be mindful of. We really do have to be conscious as we go through our day, and make conscious decisions that not only affect us, but affect the larger community, right? The larger whole, the collective, really. And so then we have the Three of Swords, and we get a bunch of cards pop out, and so this is really speaking to me of how challenging it is, how challenging it really is to be able to find that balance, right? To be able to be aware of, how you're contributing to a system that you don't want to contribute to, and how you'd like to change it. So that's really what this is. And there's also next to the Five of Pentacles, right? And so the Five of Pentacles, oftentimes in the Rider-Waite deck anyway, right? The Five of Pentacles is the two people who don't seem to have very much outside of this beautiful stained glass window, out in the cold. Wow, it appeared to be kind of warm and cozy inside, and perhaps that was a window of a church, I'm not quite sure. But it really talks about, the Five of Pentacles talks about kind of like being left out in the cold, and that is kind of the feeling that you may be coming across as you shift your priorities, right? As you shift from living in this kind of mainstream culture where you're just kind of like an android, or robot, just going along, following the conditioning that has been put upon you, and not really questioning life in a way that you're asking yourself, like, is this really the best way to engage? Yeah. And so when you start asking yourselves those questions, people, those people in your circle who do not are not asking the same questions, you are going to feel a little bit alienated from them. That is kind of something that is part of the awakening process, is that you do, when you start to become more aware of what's happening, aware of your own thoughts and actions, and how your own thoughts and actions contribute to the larger whole, and how you can really be in control of your thoughts and actions and make real significant difference simply by raising your vibration, and connecting to spirit. People who do not understand that are not, you're going to feel kind of left out in the cold a little bit, and it is going to be lonely and heartbreaking, but that really is part of the awakening process. and it's important to recognize, it's important to know that, so that you can recognize it when it comes up, and so that you don't indulge in it, right, or give it too much power and attention than you really should. But like, definitely acknowledge that feeling, and then, transmute it and move on from it, right? So the next two cards, I mean, this is wonderful. Look at this. We have the Hermit and the Chariot. And so, an energy of this here, right, of kind of trying to find some balance in your life, and trying to be in balance with what's happening in the world, and how you contribute to it, to this, to really being asked to go within, really being asked to find that light within yourself. Find your soul self, and get in touch with your soul self, because your soul self always knows the right answers, okay? And then it's coming fast. It really is. I mean, I'm sure you've heard it before, but this really is a time of great awakening. When I experienced my awakening back in 2018, it was a very interesting process. But at the same time, I had my sister-in-law who was experiencing the same thing, and we had no idea until we got together for a party. And she was basically explaining everything that I was going through. So it was pretty incredible. But she was the only person for like a couple of years. And fast forward to 2020, and it's like all kinds of people are starting to awaken and be more aware of the true nature of our supposed reality, right? So it's coming quick, and allow it. So next here we have the Four of Swords, and this is really telling me, this is not an easy process, right? Like, you're becoming more aware, awakening. It's not an easy process, and you have to allow yourself those breaks. You have to allow yourself some time free from your thoughts, and free from overthinking, and just kind of just being and just resting and rejuvenating and recuperating. This is also a very important part of the process. The King of Pentacles is really speaking to me of you will be taken care of, like, as scary as this may be for you, as uncertain you are about the future, or about your employment, or making money, paying rent, that kind of thing. Like, Source will take care of you. Source will definitely have your back, okay? So you will be taken care of, and you have to recognize that anything that comes your way is exactly as it should be. And I know that can sound very harsh for people who may be struggling with job loss, but I'm asking you to try and move through it with grace, and being aware of your feelings, allowing those feelings, but transmuting them, because Source puts these challenges to us in order for us to learn something very important, to be able to move on to the next level, okay? So whatever challenge that you are facing right now, please know that Source has your back, okay? And the only way out of it is through it. And so the question then becomes, how are you going to move through it? Are you going to move through it in faith, or are you going to move through it in fear? Okay, this here is really saying, King of Pentacles, really saying to you, have faith, because you will be taken care of, okay? Your material needs will be taken care of. And then we have the Eight of Swords here, and this for me is really a perfect reminder of as you're going through this process, it's very easy to get caught up in your thoughts, to get caught up in lower vibrational feelings, to have so many like things running through your mind and be so overwhelmed and stressed out. You know, that can easily happen during these times, right? And this card is really reminding you to keep that in check, to be aware of when that's happening, and then take a step back from it, and allow it, but then take a step back from it and say, okay, I've allowed it long enough. It's not doing me any good. I'd really like to move on from it now, and turn it around, right? Like, take that anxiety and fear and ask yourself, how can I turn this into faith? Like, how can I transmute this lower vibrational feeling into something higher? And then the basic law of attraction kicks in for you. If you are in a higher vibration where you are really transmuting negative vibrations, and you are staying in a place where you're standing in faith, and you feel and you know that you will be protected and taken care of, then that is exactly what is going to come to you. Okay. All right, so that is the message for today. Bunch of cards started popping out. So I was trying to touch on everything, but yeah, if you're struggling out there, just know that there's some point to it, okay? And know that your collective, us, your soul group, we are all here for you, and we are sending you the energy of love and light that you need to get through it, and that you will get through it, and we're here for you. Okay. All right, aloha, take care, be safe, namaste.